3, which we are playing here today.
Yeah.
Alistar as well did receive a hit, but will still be banned. There's the Cogmore right there. Defish, we've been talking a lot about that one.
No surprise. I mean, it's such a strong pick right now. And I also understand if teams don't feel like they have comps to counter it just yet. Because it is, in many ways, still the same when you play it if you're on old main. Except for the fact now you can just close your eyes and like, not move and just kill everything.
And it's just like,
But again, obviously Lulu will then become more contested if he's available. Just ban the problem away. Lulu does go away, however, from Inspire. And no real surprise with the first pick, in my opinion. Because normally what we see is that 3 AD carries are like the contested ones. Kalista, Corki, and Lucian. Now obviously a fourth one has joined the mix. But when you leave both Kalista and Lucian open, you can first pick Corki, put it in mid lane, and you can still get one of the 2 contested AD carries. You just have to give away most likely a Kalista pick, because it is higher priority for the other team. But they have banned Alistar, so Inspire is really set up for this first pick Corki. He said, you're not going to get Kalista Alistar. We're just going to take the Corki, and then we can get a Lucian later if you go Kalista now.
Lucian's still fine, yeah, exactly. So they still left up the AD carry, waiting on Millenium for their responses. So far, we've seen them kind of prioritize kind of all over the place, really. We saw Hans Sama actually.
Strong lanes.
Yeah, Hans Sama also did get some priority in the last couple of drafts that they had. And once again, there's the Kalista. So goes over to Hans Sama, and Kindred will be picked up for the jungle most likely.
So even though Masterwork is a guy who plays a lot of Morgana and Thresh, Alistar, of course, is still a pick for him, and as I mentioned before, by banning it away on blue side, you enable your first pick, Corki, so you avoid that combination of Kalista Alistar, so that makes a lot of sense from Inspire. Kindred, I mean, it's still going to be a strong pick. I think Nidalee is better right now, but it requires you to understand how to play it as a team.
Yeah.
So it's different for each team almost, and that's where we see some teams prefer Kindred, some take Quinn jungle, other teams will go Nidalee almost every single time it's open.
Nidalee's actually really risen up the ranks in terms of the tier list for the junglers right now. I also like the way that IE have approached this draft, because they banned away the Alistar, as you mentioned, for the right reasons. Last week when we saw Copenhagen Wolves draft against Millenium, they were like, we're going to ban Morgana and Thresh and leave up Alistar, and then they got first rotation.
Obviously that has no value given their tier 1 support. Should be an AD carry pick coming in for Inspire. We expect Lucian because Kalista is already picked, and that's the reason they had the first pick Corki. And already Gragas.
Yeah.
It is a flex pick for them.
Yeah, a big flex pick, actually. One of the few teams who will actually be able to do it. Satorius has played it in the top lane twice so far. First game was really impressive. Second game couldn't really get into the game apart from laning phase. There's the Lucian, as we already mentioned. Makes sense as the other top tier AD carry coming out. But yeah, I want to see where the Gragas goes. But they have plenty of room to move within this draft.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a good thing. So much of this meta in Season 6 is about flex picking as much as possible. A lot of the bans you see in your screen can often go multiple lanes. So that's what I like actually the most about Gragas. It's not even that I feel like he's going to be a good jungler at this point. I don't think he's going to be absolutely Nidalee tier, in my opinion, but he's going to be a good pick.
Yeah.
A lot better wave clear now, or jungle clear. Once he gets a few levels, like level 4, level 5, he can start clearing really fast. Always a good, you know, once he hit level 6, he had a lot of teamfight impact. That's probably what we're going to see from Inspire. Surprising. Not really surprising in terms of who the players are.
Yes.
Morgana and Anivia for Masterwork and Pretty. I don't know about the Anivia pick, though.
Yeah, well, it's a Pretty special. And Pretty's done really well with the pick. We have not seen a single game in Challenger where I think Pretty's even gone egged. He's just, like, wrecked people with it. Whether I like it this point in the draft, I don't know, but it's interesting.
My problem is, even with the Corki nerf where he lost some damage in the early game, or just overall, I feel like Anivia is too slow in the laning phase to deal with Corki properly. And I feel like you lose the push on the minions very often, at least until you hit level 6, where you can start pushing back a little bit more with your ulti.
Yeah.
But then it becomes a fight around the blue buff almost more than the lane. And because Corki is so strong in the early to mid game, and Anivia is scaling up often with the Rod of Ages build, that fight around blue buff, I feel like Millenium is going to lose. And that can make it very difficult for Anivia then to sit and constantly wave clear against the Corki. So I'm not 100% sold on it, but obviously it pretty likes to play it, and it's probably more comfort pick than necessarily, oh, this is a great matchup for Anivia.
It's interesting for sure. What's more interesting is Hecarim just got picked up.
Really?
Coming in. So I assume that'll be on Satorius going in the top lane. He's gone for the teleport and the ignite, so I assume it would be. There's the Janna as well for the Lucian Janna we've spoken about before, but...
And it's blind pick.
Yeah, Hecarim.
Okay, it's a pick which honestly received quite a few nerfs and has completely disappeared in a lot of regions as a top lane pick. One of the latest nerfs he got there, where he can no longer just charge through the minions. He has to now activate his E to do it, like the passive no longer gives him that. And I don't know about blind picking it. It is strong into melee matchups up top lane, but it struggles to kill like tanks late game. And we can also see Millenium's response is just the biggest of them all almost when it comes to the tanks. Tahm Kench just sitting in front of him. I'm gonna need to see some mid-game plays from Inspire. Trinity Force, if they want to rush that on Hecarim. Corki will get it himself. We know Lucian is good in the mid-game, so very, very strong mid-game composition they have here. I need to see them fight around blue buffs. I need to see them set up dives with that Hecarim, TP in. A lot more impactful TP than a Tahm Kench, who TP's in and he's kind of like, can I eat someone? No? Okay, then Hecarim is like flying in with ulti straight away. So Inspire needs to play a lot more aggressive early game than they normally do, which normally actually is what Millenium likes to do.
Yeah.
I feel like tables have turned a little bit here. Millenium wants to scale up a little bit more. Inspire wants to fight.
Generally in the Challenger Series, we've seen Millenium play from ahead because they've always been ahead out of laning phase, apart from like one game, I think. And then in the qualifiers, we saw them play from behind because against Banditos, they played these very early game focused compositions. They got ahead, and then Millenium still played from behind really well. I feel like we could see something very similar in this game because Inspire are going to hit that mid game and they're going to hit it hard. They have champions which scale up very quickly, like they should be able to farm in laning phase. Gragas will farm through the jungle incredibly quickly now of his W. So we'll just have to see what happens in mid game because Inspire could really make a dent in Millenium.
Yeah, I feel like they're surprising Millenium a little bit with the pick and ban phase because we normally see some more Woolite scaling and protect him, get to late game and then win fights.
Yeah.
So I like their adaptation, the change coming in to surprise them because you won't always expect that. I really like the bans to set up that Corki first pick as well. I need to see CozQ win that mid lane with Corki. I think he has the better matchup in laning phase. He needs to win it and pressure that mid lane because that enables the Gragas. It enables himself to roam to other lanes, to get into the jungle and contest these buffs here. And therefore slow down Millenium and stop them from just scaling up fairly quickly. Because we don't want to hit the point where Millenium sits on like 2-3 items in Anivia. Tahm Kench gets to his late game point where he's so tanky against double AD carry. It's super difficult then to deal with him.
That's actually an interesting point in the mid lane because CozQ was incredibly good last year in spring, then he fell off in summer, looked very good towards the start of the split and kind of petered off as we got in the last couple of weeks. So if he can step up to Pretty, who has been one of the strongest mid laners currently in Challenger, that could be a big deal in the mid lane. We can see the full compositions right here as well. We were having an interesting discussion. I'll get to that later because I'm just looking at the Keystone Masters real quick, and well, basically the jungle is doing what every jungler is doing currently in Europe, which is go for strength for the ages. Top lane is fairly similar. Bot lane Kalista has gone for fervor as usual, so nothing really out of the ordinary.
No, just very important. Always go for strength of the ages, get that 300 extra HP. Has kind of shifted the meta as well in the jungle. It's one of the reasons Nidalee has become a tier 1 pick, even though she's not locked in this game. But that's what we often see in the LCS, in Challenger. Teams have their own preferred picks, and like I feel like every team's tier list is a little bit different from each other. Obviously, none of the teams favored Nidalee in this one.
Yeah. Well, as we get into game, make sure you get on Twitter, use the hashtags MILWin and IEWin, depending on who you think is going to take this one. IE have a very cool composition. I think this is actually something that they could take to Millenium, because typically Millennium's just win lane, win game, but I don't think that's going to be the case in this one. Everyone's grouping up from Millenium, actually, going into the top side of the map.
Yeah, very standard. Go and get
Satorius.
A few deep wards placed.
Oh, the flash, the binding. Masterwork lands it, and this could be the follow-up. Another CC lands, and there's first blood over to the jungle of Djoko.
I mean, if you play no flash Hecarim, which obviously is normal because you want teleport ignite on him, sitting in the river is so risky. Because obviously you have no way of escaping if they actually invade on you, and he's just sitting in the first bush and he got caught out. Definitely not the start Inspire we're looking for. Thank you, Captain Obvious, on that one. But
yeah,
this whole draft from Inspire, for me, is saying we don't want to play Millenium's game. We don't want to play that game where we allow them to win laning phase and just snowball on us, and then you give up first blood like this.
Masterwork hits some bindings sometimes, which just shouldn't land. Like, Satorius almost just walks in and gets bound again. That would have been the darkest timeline, but he gets away. He walks away. Millenium are just sitting in the enemy jungle, just waiting to take up blue. They'll probably take Grump as well. Just depends what Maxlore wants to do now. Because there's been a defensive wall placed on the bottom side from Millenium, they'll know if Maxlore goes over there and they may be able to react. So really tempo up to Millenium.
I mean, this is the point where you just, gentleman's agreement, you swap the map And obviously top side of the map belongs to Millenium. That's where they have their AD carry and support. Bottom side goes to Inspire. Masterwork with a level 1 gank around mid lane as well. One of the good things about Morgana. Doesn't even need to get a full camp for level 2 as we have seen. We can't actually do that anymore. That's gone now, so never mind that one. I like the fact he's staying around. As long as he joins his team for top lane tower when the wave hits it, his roaming is perfectly fine.
And which is doing now, walking into the top lane, just as Millenium clear out that side of the map. Now Maxlore looking to go into the bottom side, looks like with Hecarim, so everything as usual. I don't know if Maxlore's going to go for the blue here.
No, he should. You don't need the jungler at the tower. When you push it in, just do 3-man and then let your jungler continue farming. He knows there's nothing there because they saw Millenium invading on the top side, so he can also safely walk in on his own and just a very standard mirrored fast push. First wave though from Millenium didn't give them a whole lot of damage on tower.
No, now the second minion wave's coming in. It is the cannon one, but they didn't have the big stack, which you usually come to expect, and that is not a lot of damage at all. They won't clear it on this minion wave. They'll have to wait to the next one.
Yeah, next one is coming, so this is a lot better wave being built up by Inspire.
Yeah.
You actually don't want to just instant fast push it because you want at least 2 waves to be grouped and then push it into tower to get enough time to do what Inspire is doing now. So very good start for them getting to... Wendelbo took some of the gold though.
Yeah.
Usually you always want to just have your top laner kill the tower, get the full amount of gold because he's obviously the guy getting denied in the lane swap. Wendelbo is like, nope.
I want that ruby crystal.
I want that stuff. Millenium is very far behind now on taking tower.
They should be able to take it here. Kaze just needs to make sure he kills it on this minion. There we go. And that was also shared because they actually had to keep the members from Millenium around to kill the turret in the first place, so that got split between 3 people. Yeah,
and look at your minimap now. You can even see the ping down the bottom lane. Because Inspire was so much faster taking down the tower because they built up the wave, it's bought time for the Hecarim to actually sit and farm the wave. Where Tahm Kench killed the tower with his team, shared the gold, and instant recalled because he knew that Woolite and Wendelbo would already be top lane now to push him away. So it just makes a big difference in early experience. There's a level difference now between Kaze and Satorius. And that's all built into how quickly you take on that first tower. And obviously don't mess up the minion wave like we saw Millenium do. So Kaze is probably going to find a wave that could potentially be slowly pushing towards him. Because I think actually got pushed a little bit by Satorius. But he's going to push it back out.
Yeah, we're about to find out. It's actually pretty even. I think it's slightly pushing towards Kaze actually.
Yeah, the problem is his minion wave will join faster.
Yeah.
So it's actually going to push back towards Inspire. Now you can see the minion wave from Inspire at the tier 1 tower down bot lane. So it's going to push back towards Satorius. He just picked up the farm he could, left the wave. The wave is now going to push slowly down.
But Djoko might be able to punish Satorius here. There's no wards in the bottom side, so they don't know where Kindred is. There is the mark of the Kindred on top of this Rift Scuttler, so we'll be taking down that crab, or they will be taking down the crab. Satorius now level 3. It's Hecarim pick, very interesting.
Yeah.
Also in this lane swap situation, mid lane, he comes out from Djoko, or not get all 3 of those procs down onto CozQ, but he has also been marked up, so putting the pressure down on the middle lane, pretty, is actually behind a farm. This is kind of what we expected. It takes a little bit of time for Anivia to scale up in the mid lane, even to the point where she can farm effectively, because CozQ will just outpush her.
She will be able to try and trade effectively, but it's very difficult pre-6 for Anivia. That max range Q flying so slowly should never hit CozQ. So I do believe once it hits 6, it will shift a little bit. We might see Pretty try and go for some trades, try and get some lane control back, but Corki will still be more than fine in this lane. And you can see he's just pushing it up to tower. He just wants to keep Pretty there, and Pretty is trying to stop the wave from actually hitting his tower, because last thing with Anivia on the tower becomes so annoying. It's just fun to see how both of them are fighting over minions. And Maxlore sees a chance. This is what we talked about in Champ Select. Once your mid lane is winning and has the priority on pushing, your jungler can so easily walk in and just place a few wards.
Yeah. Bot lane duel. It is a Hecarim versus a Tahm Kench. So not too much gonna happen as Maxlore comes over the wall and Kaze instantly flashes over the old switcheroo. And he'll be burning that flash for that one. In the top lane, Masterwork and Handsam are going up against Woolite and Wendelbo. Gets the rend off. Also gets the reset as well because he hit the minion, so he's still got the spears coming out. And Masterwork is looking to line up the binding, the flash, and the reaction flash from Wendelbo. Woolite is trading up against Handsam, who's still aggressing, gets tornadoed up. There comes the rend once again. He did not get the reset. He's going to jump in, gets exhausted. There's the heal, though. Wendelbo, maybe a little too deep. A rare miss binding in from Masterwork, and now the punish in from Satorius. He'll be able to just run over the Kalista, get some revenge. take him down, and that's a 1-to-1 in total in this game.
Insanely aggressive trading from Millenium. They just walked past tier 1 tower that was dead all the way down towards Inspire's tier 2 tower, still trading, flashing, getting other flashes. And Satorius is, okay, they're a free kill top. I have nothing to do bot lane because my wave is pushed anyway, so very easy teleport for him. And super aggressive trading with zero respect for the enemy globals on the side of Millenium. It is what they like to do. We know Hansama and Masterwork are super aggressive in lane. But they just gave over a very easy kill for the Hecarim.
They really like to make the plays, and we saw one misstep by them last week, and that was just like one in the whole series. But you can see what that one misstep can do to a game. Now they're equal CS, they just got killed. Hecarim is now kind of back. He's got the Spectre's Cowl, so I assume he'll still go Trinity Force as his core item. Oh, Maxlore, unlucky.
Well, that's the debate, right? Because we started seeing more Hecarim players just going full tank and skip the Trinity Force, because getting that early was the very aggressive route you could take if you really wanted to try and snowball mid-game. Maxlore is going for hands up top lane, though.
And a knockback as well. He's just dead. Like, Satorius is also there with Woolite, and he's just too far pushed up. Hansama slipping a little in this game. Yeah,
Millenium should really be able to predict that play coming from Inspire, because bot lane right now is frozen by Kaze, so that's a dead lane. Like, that lane is completely gone. They know they won't go bot lane. Mid lane is even, and pushing in on a level 6 Anivia or level 7 is obviously not the ideal place. So there's only one lane Inspire could go to. That was top lane with everything they had, because Satorius was already there. And then the Kalista just shows up all alone. She needed her support, she needed her jungler if they wanted to defend that tower. Otherwise, you just give up the tower and you go bot lane and push it out and try and trade it. So that's a really poor play. Twice now, honestly, from Millenium's bottom lane, or from Hansama. He's been playing too aggressive, too greedy. Got punished, we saw the trade before. Look how far down they're running. And there's a pink ward behind them, which they can TP to. They're just trading summoners.
And there's so many resources that Millenium put into this, because Hansama used his flash, he used his heal, didn't get the kill on Woolite, who went very far forwards. So the greed, I'm not saying, like, it kind of made sense, because he was like, oh, I can pick up this kill. And
so
if a skill shot had landed, it was unbelievably greedy, regardless of the results of this. And then Hecarim kills him anyway, so.
Even if they get a kill, Hecarim would still TP.
Still a 1-for-1.
And like trade at least then. And in order to get that kill, it would require Woolite and Wendelbo to misplay it. Maxlore is getting caught a little bit by Djoko, but Gragas, who's finally back in the meta.
Yeah.
It's worlds all over again. Hecarim and Gragas. We've gone back in time.
That's true. We just need the Rek'Sai coming in here instead of the Kindred.
Yeah.
There we go. But yeah, so Gragas is able to clear the jungle very fast now. I say that because level 6 actually being out-farmed by Djoko. So I slightly ahead in the farm vote. That's pretty interesting. Djoko may be caught out here. He does have the dance-up arrows to get over the wall. He's going to use the flash instead as the dragon is coming in. Oh no, he actually uses dance-up arrows, which aggroes the dragon, meaning he has to pop Lamb's Respite. Going to be eaten up by Kaze on his way out. Woolite was trying to get the damage out there. And the binding comes across, so that almost went horribly for Djoko.
Yeah, Millenium really, again, completely disrespects how many members from Inspire can actually be around these fights. Up top lane, you have your Kalista farming with obviously no global, so she's stuck in that lane. And Inspire hasn't showed up top at all because the wave was pushed in, so they're obviously not going to be on that side of the map. And they're showing up 5 at a dragon, and Millenium are trying to chase them and fight them. Lose the dragon for it, bot lane is pushing in, and Millenium right now is currently not in control of the map in any way, and they take fights they shouldn't take, and they might even go down.
Masterwork took so much damage, and Maxlore's ultimate actually finishes him off there. That was not what I was expecting. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, there's just 2 carries just chilling out there while bot lane's being taken.
They just ran all the way from top down to bottom, or towards the bottom side. We see Hansama run here, and it's the same thing. Millenium are not respecting how Inspire are actually playing the map correctly. Always saying there's no point in sending someone into a dead lane. Just always rotate around as a group. When they're stuck, they're farming. Kaze is going aggressive.
This is the 2v4. He jumps in with Abyssal Voyage, but I don't understand. And now Hansama will be picking up his ultimate. Master will be going in, but he's level 5. He doesn't have the Soul Shackles. The slow will come out. That's a full 2 seconds now on the current patch, and everyone from Millenium simply cannot catch up. Kaze still wants to try and lick someone, but it's not like he can actually get a range of any of Inspire. Mid lane is being blocked up by Pretty. Millenium just straight up making bad plays.
Yeah, some panic, I feel like, in the shot calling. I don't think they expected Inspire to play the macro game so well here, because Inspire, again, is always just looking at where Millenium is sending their members without any globals or in frozen lanes and saying, okay, we're just playing the other side of the map because you're stuck in that lane and freezing it. Typically, you never want to freeze lanes because the meta is, at least in the way you play the early game, fast-paced in terms of taking towers and other objectives. So if you're freezing a lane, you're not adding any value for your team. You're just farming, you're selfish. It's just about you. And then the other team can just go 5 members and make a play on the other side like Inspire has been doing again and again. And Millenium has been caught out because they are not respecting it. We'll get a tower though because they're going to chase it down. So even though they have been taking bad fights, they are even in gold.
Yeah. Oh, Hansour was recalling on a ward while trying to get out. He's going to jump over the wall with Pierce, and Woolite's going to flash after him. Comes out with the piercing light. Why? Wants to come over the wall, but doesn't have any way to do so. It's so interesting, though, because at the very start of the game, Millenium should have had tempo. They got the kill onto Hecarim, then they were in the top side of the map, they took that buff. The top lane wasn't stacked up with double waves, so they were late to the play.
Yeah, that's where it all kind of dropped for Millenium, because they were slow at taking down the tier 1 tower in the lane swap. That set them behind already there, but Kaze had to recall instantly, so they sent him bot lane to take that wave that was slowly pushing towards Inspire, and instead had the 2v2 up top lane. Okay, fair enough. You can survive that, that's okay. Kaze is a little bit behind in experience, but it's not the end of the world. The problem then comes when their 2v2 lane starts chasing down to the enemy tier 2 tower like 5 minutes into the game, and they get TP'd on and die. And then after fighting Dragon, when the carries freezing top, and so on and so on. So definitely some poor decisions for Millenium as a team. Individually, we might still see them though pull ahead, because they are still even in, or almost even in gold.
Should still also mention the fact that in Champion Select, we were saying this, Inspire have this strong early game into mid-game composition. Millenium needs to be aware of this as they aggress into the jungle. The smite comes out. Didn't quite see who picked that up. I think it was Maxlore, actually, yeah. Actually picks it away. Djoko is going to be knocked into the team, trying to get the Lamb's Respite down, but Maxlore is getting blown up pretty. Comes in with a fantastic combo. Djoko will place down the Lamb's Respite and now move out of the circle, so he'll be going down. Satorius now into this one will pop the Onslaught of Shadows. Pretty will have to flash away. So ultimately that was a jungler for jungler, and Pretty, more importantly, gets away with that red buff.
Yeah, it gets the kill for himself. Had to use flash, could be important if there's a fight. Follow up, but there's no TP now for Satorius either. He used it actually down to join the fight where Kaze stayed up top. So Millenium gets out from another very risky invasion into the enemy jungle. Still, yeah. It is very interesting. Yeah, we're looking at the Hecarim. We quickly talked about it, how rushing Trinity Force kind of died out because it required you to like snowball mid-game so hard to be effective. So I like to build more what Satorius is going for, and just build tank. Because your job is actually not to be a main damage dealer, but still your combo when you TP in and you jump onto an enemy AD carry, you can like do a lot of damage as full tank Hecarim still.
And see that last fight again. I say fight, it was more of a over-eager invasion by Millenium, who once again gets punished by Maxlore's ultimate.
And look at the side lanes again for Millenium. They are slow pushing 2 side lanes, so they're in no position to actually fight. They are lucky to get out here 1-for-1. That should have just been 1 kill for Inspire, and that's it, and move on. But it's the same thing again. Millenium are constantly having members sitting and farming and slow pushing lanes, and then the other part of the team is like, should we fight? I mean, why not? I mean, yeah, our AD carries farming, doesn't matter, let's just go fight them. Yeah. And then Inspire shows up 4 to 5 members.
Very just odd in this game. Pretty goes for the Rod of Ages first, just picked up the boot buff as well. Kaze is into the middle lane. So but you don't actually see that often, is the Tongue Lash Devour combo, where you pick up a minion with the Tongue Lash. But he just did it. So.
Yes, he did. Drains your mana, but it looks awesome.
It does, very cool. Wendelbo, Woolite, and CozQ heading into the Rift Herald. It's 15 minutes into the game. That's also another thing with Hecarim, because he died out at the same time where Home Guards got changed from you buying it to... there's no point trying to steal it, because you... Okay. Because it's at 20 minutes now. You get it regardless, no matter what you have. So at 20 minutes, then you have the ability to Home Guard teleport. But before that, you used to be able to make plays. You used to be able to run to lane very fast because you'd basically go after your boots. But you just don't do that anymore. So that was another reason why we saw Hecarim die out. But being brought back here, you can see he's still even sitting on tier 1 boots, which is something that would never have happened before.
He's been having a very simple game, where Millenium has been overextending and he could just TP in behind them and didn't even need early home guards to catch on to them. What we see on the map now, though...
Is it possible to get game sounds turned up, or do I have to do it on my side?
Due to the fact we have no TP for Hecarim, Millenium can actually push top now with Kaze. He should just push it in hard, force someone up there. There might be a fight there because Hecarim is on bottom side. They're going in.
Maxlore E-flash onto Handsammer. He's separated from the pack with the ultimate. Djoko's trying to get in range for the Lambsdorff spike, but doesn't quite connect it. That's a lot of commitment onto that one target, though. And the binding connects from Masterwork. Another flash coming in on top of the binding. Now pretty in from the mid lane, but he's a little slow. Satorius is there with the punish. So is CozQ from the north side. Djoko is still putting down the damage. Now Lambsdorff spike comes up to try and even up the tables, but this is going to be a whitewash. Masterwork, he tries to put in a cheeky little recall there, but what's he going to do? 4-for-1. And Inspire pulls so far ahead in this game.
We talked a lot about this, Pulse, already with how Inspire wants to fight in that mid game. We hear 17 minutes in, Trinity Force on Corki, 1 item completed on Lucian. Your Hecarim is actually already fairly tanky. You have a lot of ways of engaging with Gragas and Hecarim ultis. And Millenium, I mean, you're sitting on a Rod of Ages that's trying to stack, and then you go Athene second, so you have very low combat stats just for Pretty. At this point, your Kalista is behind because she's been overextending as well. Like, it's very difficult for Handsammer to get proper position. This is 3 members only. They have no mid control because Pretty is now really far away. That's why Inspire can engage, even though Woolite is not here for the fight. Pretty is gone. They kill the AD carry instantly, and now it's just easy for them to clean up the fight. Millenium could have tried to disengage at this point after they lost 1 member, but they chase for more. And now Woolite comes from the back together with CozQ. 280 carries saying we are more than ready to fight at this point. And again, everything Inspire wanted to do in this pick and ban phase, they've been able to do that. A lot of it also comes from the fact that Millenium are basically saying, oh, you want to play like that? Okay, we will allow you to play like that. We will give you these fights. And that's why it's 8-3 in kills.
Ultimately, though, the gold difference is not massive. It's 2,000 gold, or just over, which is big, but it's not like a 10,000 gold difference. A lot of it's in the jungle, though.
Yeah, big farm difference.
Yeah, so, or rather the other way around. Djoko's making up some of that on his side. 600 gold ahead of Maxlore. But still, like, so many kills going over to priority champions, like the Hecarim in the top lane, for example, the ADC being ahead. Likewise, mid lane, almost 1,500 gold ahead is massive.
And now we're going to see Inspire just play like a 1-4 setup. Hecarim gets his TP, he just pushes top. Nobody can actually go up and defend properly against him. He can always push away first. He has more wave clear than a Tahm Kench, as an example. And then you just keep 4 members with...
Oh no!
CozQ, playing it pretty risky, but he will use it to clear the minions.
Yes.
All planned.
Well, the package, I think it was expiring, but also Handsammer basically took a full culling to the face. No one was able to block it for me and couldn't get out of it either. Maxlore pops the ultimate, blasts Millenium away from the tower. Going to be eating up the Kindred, popping them both out behind the turret.
And this is something we're going to see more and more of, is the Gragas against Kindred matchup in team fights. It's super tricky for Kindred because she puts down her ulti and she's like, I'm safe. And then Gragas is like throwing in his ulti shooter out of her own, and then she dies instantly. So where she normally can be a little bit of a front line due to her ulti, that gets completely nullified if Maxlore plays it correct with his ulti in these fights, and you just take down the Kindred super easy. Yes, okay, you lose the early game, don't farm as quickly, but team fights is where this Gragas pick is going to be more impactful.
There's a pretty cool interaction with Gragas coming back, of course, so that could be really big just in terms of like priority and champion select, how people react to like a Kindred being picked up. That's something you definitely need to keep track of. Djoko just taking away this crap, was marked with Mark of the Kindred, so that's another stack onto him. Mid lane, Handsammer gets blasted by CozQ. CozQ, we've not spoken too much about him since laning phase, but he is significantly far ahead of Pretty in terms of gold right now, and in terms of itemization. He's hit the Triforce spike, and is building towards his next item, even has boots.
Yeah, we saw him win the early game, and then it went somewhat even when Pretty hit like level 7 and an 8. But then we had these team fights where Pretty has also been denied getting blue buff until now, basically. 20 minutes in for him. So he's not been able to keep up the same pressure mid. He's also been caught out, obviously, because we had these fights. He's been the target, and CozQ has just been able to up his farm, and is doing fine in this lane. Still for Inspire, there's absolutely no reason for them to slow down the game at this point. Use the fact that Hecarim can push in the Tahm Kench still. Let him be very active in a side lane. Get deep vision so you set up these TP flanks from the Hecarim. And then use the fact that you have Gragas and Hecarim to start fights. On an Anivia with no mobility. On a Kalista who needs to auto-attack to jump. It's very easy to engage onto her. It's after she becomes the peeling machine for herself, jumping left and right.
Kaze will push these minions surprisingly fast now because of the changes to Sunfire Cape, an extra 50% damage to minions and monsters. So he actually kills the minion waves way faster than previously. So he's actually not going to sit in the sidelines. Looks like he's trying to go for a flank here. There's the Abyssal Voyage, but I think it might be a little too late. He pops a little too far away. Maxlore going to be chased down. There's the culling onto Masterwork. Ooh, takes so much damage, almost taken out there. There's the binding into the zone, and the flank fails. Yeah,
Tahm Kench is definitely not an engaged champion. He's very good at rotating around the map very quickly, jumping from lane to lane, and he's good follow-up engage. But his ulti is so easy to just run away from once you see it, especially also with Janna to disengage. So very easy for Inspire to just go, oh, Tahm Kench ulti, disengage, and then as soon as that's gone, now we re-engage and we can continue poking, because Millenium has no hard engage on their composition. Like, it's a comp that basically can't really fall behind, because now all it can do is just wave clear. But that should mean that Inspire focuses more on getting into the jungle, play the side lanes, set up a slow push in your lane. You can see the big wave up top here, slow pushing down. They're actually rotating a little bit too early to catch it. I would like to see them wait, stay mid for one more wave and let this one get to tower. Then you rotate through jungle and you catch the wave and you kill the top tower, because now you actually gave Millenium time to move up and defend it. So Millenium is already here. So Inspire just a little bit too quick on pulling it. Wait one more wave and that would have been a very good move. Walk the jungle on top side, get the big wave, get tower. That's how you play around these Anivia comms who are just sitting and wave playing forever in mid lane. Because Millenium can't really contest anything. They're just gonna let you push the minion waves every single time in the 1v1 and in the 4v4.
But if Millenium can hold on,
Pretty just took wolves and gave away mid tower.
Yeah, that's so important as well to keep the outer mid turret alive at this stage, just so you can have a little bit of map pressure, so you can place wards in that side of the jungle. Now they're being pushed back a little bit more. We have seen Millenium store exceptionally well, specifically in the qualifiers. I was very surprised how well they could store, especially with Anivia, which pretty played multiple times. So maybe they can hold the line here up against Inspire, but Inspire are just straight up a better team, currently second in the standings than Renegade's Banditos that we saw them in the qualifiers. So I don't think Inspire is just going to give Millenium time.
I agree, and I think in this game Inspire has been a lot better than Millenium as a team in how to play the map. As long as they now play that side lane with Satorius, have the other side lane build up a slow push, or even have the Lucian push it in, and you just play the side lanes more than the mid lane, so you play around Anivia instead of playing into Anivia, Inspire should be able to just continue pushing the advantage. We just talked about it. Millenium's engaged as a Tahm Kench ulti. Super easy to predict. You have deep vision as well in the enemy jungle. They should never go unnoticed. So I feel like at this point, this is Inspire's game to lose, even though it's 3k, 4k goal difference. And we have seen a lot bigger goal leads. Just because the composition from Millenium is so passive in so many ways. And we talked about how it would fall behind in the early to mid game, and it did, because they also took fights. Definitely not a fan of the composition they're showing.
At the same time, pressure is difficult to quantify in terms of statistics, and IE have way more pressure than Millenium in this game. Like, if they go somewhere, Millenium immediately has to back away. They can't just go for the trade. Alright, Maxlore had people behind him, but you can see how fast he just clears camps now with his W, with Runic Echoes as well in the jungle. And also goes Tracker's Knife. Like, it's just so much damage in that AoE. It's actually kind of crazy. He's also gone for Deadman's Plate, which did have a small hit to it, as the other armor items got buffed, but it's still good. It's still a great item.
Yeah. You always know it's a great item if it's been nerfed like 2 or 3 times and people are still building it. Same with some of the champions we've seen. Like, I remember when Kalista came out, she didn't just got nerfed I don't know how many patches in a row, and she's still a super, super strong pick. Just think back to how good she was at her peak.
It's the Aurelia effect, you know?
And why, it is, and why teams were so afraid of playing against it. Good old Xin Xiao release. Never forget.
Oh my god.
2-shot and 80 carry at like level 5.
Actually triggered. Oh, Djoko. Oh no. Oh no. Dance of Arrows, not over the wall, has to burn the flash. Does not feel good at all.
And now you can see how Inspire, again, are playing the side lanes over and over. Woolite is sitting top lane. Bot lane is pushing in with the big wave for them. So Kaze has to go clear it out. Okay, so you get vision. Where's the Tahm Kench? We're not afraid of his teleports. We're not afraid of his ulti. Let's just see where he is on the map. So he now has to push his wave out. That allows Inspire to make plays on top side of the map, instantly starting Baron. So they're basically saying to Millenium, if you do not walk down blind through your own jungle, or through the river, and contest this one, we pick up a free Baron. And Millenium are so slow to react. Inspire are just not one step, not two steps, they're like 10 steps ahead of Millenium in this game when it comes to playing the map.
Yeah, going full sway and 5 steps ahead of them. Hans Sama, that's just not a good place to be. They have all these ultimates just to kill him. I mean, he was just caught out. Like, they knew they were on Baron. You get a global announcement that tells you they just killed Baron. And he was like, I wonder where they could be.
Yeah, could it be topside? Nah.
No, I need this minion wave.
I feel like we've seen that many times this game.
Yes, 4 times to be precise.
Yeah.
As he has 4 deaths, and they're all from being picked. Woolite now into the top lane. They have this minion wave. They burnt 2 ultimates on that, but it doesn't really matter. They have the pressure from the team, and it's 5 versus 4. This is quickly becoming a whitewash. This has been a very surprising game. Handing Millenium potentially their first loss today would be really big for Inspire.
Definitely a very different performance for Millenium compared to what we normally see. Is that because they haven't really been forced into making bad decisions by other teams until they made it Inspire, who's obviously now second in the standings? So is it more credit to Inspire for actually exposing Millenium and clearly their lack of shot calling in this game, which we have seen? Because it's really been...
Oh, the damage out from Woolite and the shielding as well almost takes down pretty where he stands. You know, they're going to try and clear out the minion wave, but now they have the Baron, and Anivia isn't even that effective at clearing minion waves anymore. And this cannon minion is going to go to town. Oh, no, Djoko's got the smite, but there'll be another one soon enough. And Satorius is in the top lane with teleport, with ignite, with his ultimate. Has picked up the Maw of Malmortius as well. I really, really like Satorius just in terms of his champion pool and how he plays the game. Like, he is one of the players who brought Gragas as a top lane. I don't even know of any other player who was doing that. Hecarim now going into the top lane, haven't seen that in a long time. Even used Shen right off the bat as soon as it was released into competitive after his changes. Satorius is always ahead of the curve. Maybe we'll see the whole world bring Hecarim and Gragas back into the top lane.
Not
Who knows?
expecting the Hecarim to become a worldwide top
trend,
pick.
yeah.
I think it's more he just wanted something where he could be aggressive and actually force fights. Malphite could be another option, potentially, but maybe a comfort pick more than anything. It is a blind pick coming in for him in this one, and he's dead.
Yeah, very rare you actually see a culling just straight up kill someone and still have a full second to go on the channel, but it just happened. Hans Sama straight up called out. Mid lane will be going down, now onto the inhibitor. Inspire, don't know if they can finish off this push, but they'll come very close. Top tower is still standing, they have a minion wave ready to go. That will be buffed up by the minions, by the Baron buff. CozQ now coming up, and this tower is going down so incredibly quickly. Maybe he can burst Satorius, but he's just not taking any damage from Pretty off to the backside. Now he'll go into the fight. This tower is going to fall, but Inspire don't even care about finishing the turret because they can just kill every member of Millenium instead. Kaze will be dropping low, so will Pretty, but it lost 3 members. Top inhib will go down, 12-3 in kills, 10,000 gold advantage. Inspire have been all over this game.
Yeah, Millenium had the advantage the first 2 minutes of the game with the first blood. Outside of that, Inspire has been controlling everything. Satorius has been doing great for him. CozQ has been winning his lane. Woolite is picking up kills when he needed to. This is a team effort for Inspire in many ways, and just outplaying Millenium in terms of macro strategy, always out-rotating them. Djoko goes down. I mean, here at this point, there's very little Millenium can do, and it's almost just a matter of time before Inspire can move in and take the rest of the base.
Oh, a damage from Gragas, man.
I mean, such a strong teamfight setup, right? You got 2 tanks in the front line, Maxlore and Satorius. You got 2 carries then in the back to 2 AD carries, and then a peeling support as well to back them up. So just a very, very strong setup overall that had a fantastic early game.
Now the push comes into the bottom lane from Inspire. I don't think there's much they can do. Bot lane Hans Sama is 0, 8, and 4 combined. This is just straight up the worst performance we've seen from that bottom lane. I gotta be honest, like the bottom lane from Millenium is starting to feel to me like the Huni of bottom lanes, you know? Where they have like these 10-0 performances, but then tilt super hard and go 0-10.
And they didn't get the chance to play that 2v2 or the 1v1 like Huni wants to do normally and be super aggressive. Same here for Hans Sammer. So when he actually had the 2v2 for basically a minute, he completely overextended and died to a very easy TP gank from Satorius, for Satorius. So Inspire is just playing around him, saying we don't want to take 2v2s, we don't want to deal with that. We can just catch you when you are so greedy for farm over and over. And that's been the problem for Millenium. They haven't been able to play that strong lane phase, you know, win lane, win game. And they've been completely exposed.
Just to follow up on that, Inspire have definitely played this very, very smartly. If that was their intention to shut down the proactive lane, which is usually Hans Sammer and Masterwork, the passive lane are pretty. They just need to put a Corki up against him. He'll farm up. Top lane Kaze goes on a tank this game, so he's not going to be carrying on the likes of a Fiora or a Poppy. And Djoko, if he can only facilitate no one, then what's he going to do? So they kind of just picked apart Millenium at their strengths.
And they're going in.
This could be the final fight. Masterwork, he's pretty dead. And Kaze will be backing off as well. He can't even help his support there. The last inhibitor will go down. The minions are very shortly going to be flooding into the base, and I feel like this could be curtains for Millenium.
Should be. Again, Inspire here with 5. Masterwork only guy dead at this point. But there must be another engage coming soon. Millenium is so far behind. They shouldn't be able to do anything. And Djoko is jumping in. And
yeah, they'll give it one last fight, but there's the Monsoon knocking people away. So much displacement on Inspire. There's the ultimate coming in from Satorius onto Djoko. He's inside Lamb's Respite. He'll take one step out, and Corki's there to meet him for the kill. Woolite now chasing up onto the spawn pad, but Inspire turn around and take out the injectors instead. They just want this win to secure it up against Millenium, and this will be Inspire. One last team fight up against Millenium here, and now to be on to the next in itself, handing Millenium their first loss. Inspire Esports 1-0 in this series.
Not yet. Slowly, slowly.
Got it.
Got it. There we go. Inspire picks it up in the end. Honestly, completely